Hi Arunima, welcome to my podcast. I hope you are doing great in the 2024 year.
Yeah, it's going great, and thank you so much for having me.
So, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Arunima Chaudhuri, and I completed my BTech in 2023, after which I joined INIT Warangal for my master's in computer science and engineering. And apart from that, I have contributed to a lot of open source communities and been quite active there. I was a part of the MLH Fellowship, after which I also got selected for the Linux Foundation Mentorship Program, where I worked with Hyperledger Foundation. And currently, I'm also interning at Status.
Okay, so that is a great introduction itself. Okay, so let's start with your open source journey because the title mentioned the podcast thumbnail only is open source with Arunima. So, how did you begin doing open source in your college life, or was it from earlier only? So, how did it actually start?
Okay, so I always had it in my mind that I want to do my master's. So after my GATE exam of third year, I was sure that I would get a decent rank to get into college. After that, I started exploring about various remote internships. So while I was exploring the remote internships, I got to know that all the open source internships are mostly
Mm,
remote. So
right.
that's how I got to know about open source. After which, when I searched about a bit on YouTube and by reading blogs, I
Mhm.
got to know about all these programs like MLH Fellowship, Google Summer of Code, Google Season of Talks, and everything. But in the beginning, when I looked at those repositories, obviously I couldn't understand anything. So I
Yeah, that
think
happens.
the first thing, yeah, so I think the first thing that we should do is that at least develop one skill set and have a good understanding. So let's say I chose web development, so I got a good hold of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It was completely from YouTube videos and reading documentations. I followed MDN Docs, and it is a great resource if anyone wants to learn about web development. And after which, I started contributing to a few open source projects like CNCF and AnitaB.org. I also got involved with AnitaB.org communities and started volunteering there, attending their meetups. After which, I
Mhm.
got to know about one of their boot camp that they were holding, that volunteering boot camp.
Mhm.
I attended that, and after that, I got the opportunity to become an open source hack mentor at the anitaB.org projects. So that was
Okay.
the first selection mail that I got, and that was the first opportunity. It was a volunteering position, but it helped me get that first bit of experience on my resume, because
Okay.
before that I had nothing in my resume. And
Okay.
based on this, as I said, that I was contributing to projects and a
Mhm.
few open source projects, I also got selected in the MLH Fellowship Prep Program.
Okay.
Before getting selected here, I also got rejected a few times. But those rejection mails, I read thoroughly and understood that why I am getting rejected, and
Mhm.
worked on it, and finally got selected for the prep program. So these are the two opportunities from where my open source journey started. After
Okay.
completing the prep program, I applied for the main fellowship, and
Mhm.
then I got selected to intern with Solana Labs.
Oh,
After completing that, I got selected for the LFX Mentorship Program. So
okay.
after that, yeah, it things worked out, and yeah, that's how it started and went on throughout my
So,
college
I'd
life.
like to go deep into this struggle journey of yours when you heard about all these opportunities and you went to the repositories and got overwhelmed seeing the repository code there. The journey actually started there only. So, how
Yes.
did you actually manage to make some contribution to the projects? Like, how did you understand the code base, the architecture of any of those projects? And then how did you talk to the mentors, connected with people there? So, how all these process began for you? Because I feel it's the most crucial part of any open source program or open source journey. So, how all these you manage? Like in the beginning, you might have faced failures or rejections, or people might not have replied to you. So how did you get over from that?
Okay, so starting with about rejections, yes, I got rejected a lot of times. I even got rejected for the unpaid internships. I even
Okay.
applied there and got rejected.
Okay.
So yes, it was not easy, but I think upskilling helped when first time I knew about Google Summer of Code. So Google Summer
Mm.
of Code was coming that time, and the projects were there. So I just searched the projects and I couldn't understand anything. And the Google Summer of Code has those tags there, right? That
Right.
web, blockchain, and
Mm-hmm.
this. So I decided
Yeah.
that let's pick up one technology and learn about it. So
Okay.
that's when I picked about of the web technology, because I had heard that you have a lot of resources around it, web development.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I thought of picking up that and starting with it. I think the basics are HTML, CSS, for which there is a lot of videos on YouTube. But
Mm-hmm.
coming to the part that learning JavaScript, it's a bit more difficult. Not difficult, I would say, but comparing to HTML, CSS,
Mm-hmm.
learning JavaScript is on the bit difficult side. So for learning these, I used MDN docs and YouTube videos. YouTube videos, primarily free code camp videos. So
Yeah.
I started watching videos, working on a few initial projects. Like I built around 10 projects,
Okay.
small projects, to get a good understanding of these technologies. So once you get a good understanding of the technologies by building small projects,
Mm.
then when you go and open the code base, you will not be completely blank. You will at least
Okay.
understand the lines of the code, what it is written. Maybe
Yeah.
not the entire code base, but the
Mm.
lines can understand.
Yeah. Some functions you will be able to relate.
Yes, so if you have learned JavaScript, you will understand the JavaScript functions,
Mm.
right? So that's how it started. And after that, choosing the open source organization. I chose the organization that I first contributed to from the Google's, I think it was either Google Summer of Code website or the LFX Mentorship website.
Okay.
Any open source program website we open, we get to know about various organizations that are
Right.
participating.
Mm.
So we can just choose that and open the project. So every active organization has a lot of projects, and every project
Mm.
has a lot of beginner issues as well, right?
Okay. Okay.
There is a lot of good first issues there. But before getting them assigned, the first thing is the setting up the project in your local system.
Right.
So
Right.
for setting up the project in the local system, I think reading the contribution guide, I think it will be either the steps will be either in the contributing.md file or in the
Mm.
readme.md file. Most of the
Mm.
cases it is in these two files only. So I think first we should set up the project. And another thing is that every open source community has their own code of conduct, which we should know that how the contributing process occurs there. We should first directly raise an issue, or first we should, start the discussions in their channels and then raise an issue. So we should know
Mm.
about these code starting. So these are the initial steps. And if we face any problem in setting up the projects, I think we should ask in the public channels, because not necessarily that, say, the mentors are often busy, the maintainers are
Mm.
often
Mm.
busy.
Yeah.
But in most of the cases, it is that, whatever doubts we are facing currently, it is
Mm.
faced by the earlier contributors as well. So if we ask in the public channel any doubt, most of the time, the people who have contributed to the project previously, they only help us out. So
Okay.
it gets very quick. We get a very quick response if we ask in the public channel, rather than again and again texting the maintainers of the project.
Okay.
So that's how I got started. And I think once we get an issue aside, it often happens that we are not understanding anything about the issue, right? It also
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Yeah. Quite a lot.
So I think if we are not able to understand anything about the issue, it is because we are not very clear about the terms in the issue, right?
Yeah.
So what I used to do is that first Google out the terms and learn about those terms.
Okay.
The next thing is figuring out that which file to make the changes, because the
Mm-hmm.
open source project have a lot of files, like so
Right.
many files. Now, how to find out that where I have to make the changes? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
So since I contributed in open source mainly to web development projects, So I use the inspect element. So the class name and the ID I used to figure
Okay.
out and then search for that in the files as well, that in which
Mhm.
file it is present. So that helped me figure out where I have to make the changes, and then it took time to slowly understand the code and connecting the dots, and that's how it started. It's a long process. It will take time, right? It won't
Mm-hmm.
happen overnight. But yeah, we improve slowly, and slowly we will be able to make some good contributions if we stick there.
So it can actually take time for more than 7 days or a month or 2 months. So is it normal or not?
I think it can take more than 7 days to set up the project only,
Okay,
because
okay.
often we face so many errors.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we are trying to run an instruction, we will get certain errors.
Mm.
So it can take time. Often it has taken like 20 days for some contributors to set up the project. So it can take time, but just stay there
Okay.
and ask for help. Like if you are not able to solve a problem for more than one day, ask
Mm-hmm.
for help. Don't just try solving it alone. Most of the time someone will help you out from the public channels.
Term or a set of terms of technologies I have heard that are used in most of the projects, not as core part, but for the code maintenance, that is Kubernetes and Docker, Jenkins, and all those things, because they are actually involved in the maintenance or automation part of most of the projects in most of the organizations. But as a beginner, if you don't understand the basic code of the project and architecture of it, and on top of that, if you have Docker and Kubernetes, that gets a lot overwhelming. So, have you faced such kind of situation? And if yes, how have you uh, came out of such situation?
Okay, so since I was contributing to web dev projects, it happened that in some of the projects there were requirements, but I was not working on it. I didn't choose the
Mm.
issues around Kubernetes. I mostly chose the issues around web development. So even
Okay.
for good first issues, you will have issues around web development as well. Let's say to add a button or to add
Mm.
a dark mode to the website. So I chose the issues around the tech stack in which I am comfortable with and in which I want to grow myself. So for example, I think in one of the projects that I was contributing, it required me to have Docker installed in my system. So I
Yeah.
just followed the Docker. I opened the Docker documentation, read
Hmm.
about it a bit, and got it installed in my system sufficient so that I can set up the project, not more than that.
Yeah,
And then I
mainly
started focusing on the issue.
mainly it requires for setup process only, the Docker and Kubernetes
Yeah,
part. Okay.
yeah. Just I think reading the documentation, we can easily set it up.
And if still you are in problem, you can ask for help from people to come out
Yeah, yeah,
early.
yeah. You can. We can ask
Okay.
for help in the public channels, and most of the time if we, like the things that we are stuck for 2 to 3 days are very simple. If we just ask, someone will help us out and it will be solved in a few minutes. So it's better
Okay.
to ask for help.
Okay. Okay. You have mentioned about MLH Fellowship, but let's keep it for the next episode with Arunima. Coming to the next part, I have heard about your contributions in an organization called Layer 5, which is highly active, especially its project Meshery is quite famous in the open source world. So let's talk about the journey related to that. So when did you hear about Layer 5 and from where?
I think I got to know about Layer 5 from the LFX Mentorship website only.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
where
it's mentioned
uh,
too.
yeah, so that's where I got to know about it. And after like going through some initial contributions, I was searching for some good web development projects where, which is very active, because if an
Hmm.
organization is very active now, you get that immediate feedback which you need as a beginner.
Okay, yeah. Hmm.
And Layer 5 community is extremely active.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I got to know about Layer 5, and uh, I saw that they have a few projects around the front end web development technologies as well. One is the
Okay.
Meshery.io website, another is the
Hmm.
Layer 5 website. So my contributions were mainly around these two websites.
Okay, so when you came to
Yes.
know about these projects, um, the, as I have felt like there are a lot of contributors already present in those projects. So how did you find a space for yourself there? Like how did you find the comfortable issue for yourself to solve and continue with that there?
Okay, so coming to finding the issue, again, I search for the good first issue tab, issue filter there, and then
Mm-hmm.
I think there are filters related to web development. There are a lot of issues in layer 5 which is not assigned to anyone. Another
Okay.
thing is that often the issues are assigned to someone and that person is inactive for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. That
So in
happens.
that case, what we can do is that we can just leave a comment that, hey, are you still working on the issue? Can I help you out? Uh, just comment like that. Don't ask directly that I want to, like, if you're not working, I want to work on it. It sounds very rude. But just
Mm-hmm.
comment that, can I help? Can I collaborate with you on this, on solving this issue? And if that person it replies that I'm not working on the issue, would you like to take it up? So then you can take it up. So not necessarily that if the issue is assigned, then someone is working on it. It often happens, very often happens, that the older issues, if you just go to the few older issues, they are assigned to someone, but that person is inactive for a very long time. So if
Okay.
you find that you are not getting any suitable issue that is not assigned to anyone, you can do this. You will surely get a lot of issues. Layer 5 has a lot of open issues, what I have seen.
So that was an interesting hack. I haven't even heard about this, or I didn't think about in that way of actually. Let's say that you have made your first contribution in layer 5 in any of the projects. And so how
Hmm.
did you continue with those contributions? Like first issue, it's okay. Then how did you took up the second, the third one, and that should be frequent, not like in one in this month, one in the next month. That would break the momentum actually. So how did you actually took the issues frequently and get and also got known to the mentors, because communicating with the mentors personally is actually a good part of this thing.
Okay, so coming to community into the mentors, I always ask in the public channel. And the
Okay.
public channel of Layer 5 is very active. It's very active. It has a
Okay.
newcomers call every week to help newcomers get started with the project also. So
Okay.
the community is very active. It's I
Hmm.
never asked any mentor there. I just asked in the community channel if I was facing any issue, and
Hmm.
someone or the other helped me out there.
Okay.
And what was your another question? I just forgot about
Like
it.
how did you ensure that you are making contributions frequently?
Okay, so coming to a number of contributions, it actually doesn't matter much. Let's say if the issue is a medium level issue, it can take you 1 month to get it solved, and
Okay.
it can often take you 4 to 5 months to finally get it merged. Okay,
Okay.
because someone will review, give you feedback, then you will work on the
Mm.
feedback, and maybe by that time that person who gave the feedback has left the community, and some
Okay.
other person comes and gives the
Mm.
feedback. So it's a long process. And the
Okay.
longer the issue, the like if it is an issue which is a bit complex, it will involve
Mm.
more code changes, so
Mm.
it can take time. It doesn't matter that how many issues you are solving. It matters that uh what is the level of the issues that you are solving, how does it, how much it is helping the project, right?
Mhm.
So that matters more.
Okay.
I think
Um,
in my uh, time of around I contributed there for 5 to 6 months, and I got
mhm.
around 16 pull requests merged, and some of
Okay.
the pull requests took a long time to get merged.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is very normal. And maintaining the frequency, once you solve the issue, don't wait to get it merged, because the merging will take time. Get
Mhm.
another issue assigned to you, make a
Okay.
different branch and start working on that issue. So
Yeah.
don't wait it will get merged, then I will take up another issue. No, it doesn't work like that. You have solved
Okay.
the issue, you have got a basic idea how to solve the issue. Now go
Mm.
to the next issue. So that's
Okay.
how I went on.
Okay. And you mentioned about those meetings for newcomers. So can everyone or anyone in the world join those meetings and get to know about the project?
Anyone can join,
And even one
no
can.
matter you are working, no matter you are
Okay.
a student,
Mm.
not a
Mm.
student. nothing matters. You can just join, know about the projects, and start contributing. That's the best part about open source, that they
Mm,
like, it takes us very hard to get that first experience on a resume, that first good
mm,
experience in a resume. I think
mm,
contributing to Layer 5 helped me in that way to get that, coding contributions on my resume, that I can showcase that, yes, I know to contribute to, open
mm,
source projects. So this helps a lot, that if you're not from a good college, if you're not getting open, like good internships, what we can do is
mm.
that just contribute to open source, make some good contributions and write it down in a resume. It really helps a lot.
Okay. And even one can get their doubts solved about the projects. That's the basic doubts also.
Yes, yes, basic doubts also. There is nothing called, they don't they don't judge you at all, that you are asking such silly doubts or anything, nothing like that. Even if it is a very simple doubt also, you will find, the 2 to 3 people are replying
Mhm.
to your doubts, if it is a
Okay.
like a good active community. Even I asked resources that I don't know about this tech stack, how where can I learn about it? They
Okay.
help me out with that also.
Okay. So that
Yeah,
is a good point or good thing about open source. And would
yeah.
you like to tell the audience about your work or contributions at layer 5?
I think it was mainly around HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Okay.
The issues were mainly around this. One of the issues I remember was, uh, they had a menu bar there, and they wanted to make it scrollable. So
Okay.
while I was trying to make it scrollable, there was also they also added a dark mode and light mode to that website. So now
Okay.
I had to like work on
Mm-hmm.
that as well. Like, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
make the scroll bar, it should look good in both dark and light mode. So
Right.
I think that, so these were some of the issues that I worked on. I don't remember exactly all the issues, but this was one of the issues. It was like around web development only.
So your issues were focused mainly on the front end part.
I think a few issues were around like uh, JavaScript code snippets as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that was all that I've asked you from layer 5 thing. And now let's come to the LFX mentorship, for which most of the people would be waiting because the contribution period or the applications are going to open soon only. Yeah, would you like to tell the entire experience about that? So how did you start contributing and then the application procedure, the proposal or cover letter actually you say. So all those things.
Okay, so coming to the contribution thing, uh, in Hyperledger was this project especially was coming for the first time. So the project didn't have any past contributors. If a
Okay.
project is coming again and again in LFX, it will surely have past contributors, but this project
Right.
didn't have, in which I get selected.
Okay.
So it didn't have any past contributors.
Mm,
So starting with choosing the project, which is the main thing, I would say choose the project which which tech stacks you're familiar with. If you choose
okay.
a very like a project which is completely unknown to you, there is like
Mhm.
few chances of getting selected.
Okay.
Another thing is that if you don't have any past contributions in the project, just have a look at the project. Like, does any other folks have past contributions? If it
Mm,
is a very active project and it has been coming to LFX again and again, it will surely have a lot of past contributors, and this reduces your chances of getting selected if you have not made
mm,
any contributions. So choosing the project is a very important part. I choose 3 projects of Hyperledger, and I
okay.
stick to that. That these are the 3 projects I will focus on: writing the cover letter, joining the meetings.
Mhm.
So what my project was around documentation and researching about how to standardize the documentation of Hyperledger.
Okay.
So there was no need to there was no like contributing thing as such, but every meeting I started giving a lot of ideas that this is how we can do this is so it
Mhm.
shows your curiosity, that how you are thinking about the project, how you like want to like you're studying the project and thinking about how we can improve this.
Mhm.
So that helped me. Another thing that helped me was that I had a bit of research experience on my resume because my final year project was around research.
Okay.
And yeah, and regarding it was around documentation. So I
Mm-hmm.
had won a few writing competitions. So I mentioned about that in my cover letter. And
Okay.
yeah, and Hyperledger is a blockchain based project, and I had
Mm-hmm.
experience in blockchain back in Solana Labs. So I think
Oh,
all
yeah.
these things helped me get selected.
And what about the cover letter? So, what are the hacks or what are the sections, the main points you should mention in the cover letter to make it compact and increase the chances of selection?
First of all, the cover letter, it should look good. Uh, Try to avoid Google Docs and make it on Canva. It is
Okay.
a it is a game changer, honestly. It changes everything. It
Okay.
looks so neat, well organized. The fonts look so good. Try to
Mm-hmm.
make it on Canva, not Google Docs. Google Docs में initial रखो कि आप वहाँ पर correct कर रहे हो, but final Canva में.
Okay.
Yeah. And another thing is have some standard template of it. Like first mention about you, mention why are you interested in the project, about your past experiences, about your past projects, and while writing all these sections, don't unnecessarily write things. Let's say I've done projects in web development, but it is not related to this project, then I will skip that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will focus more on the things that is around the like requirements of the project I'm applying to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
this is why I said three, because in that 1.5 months, it's not possible to write proper cover letters for more than three projects. For me, it was not possible.
Okay.
So I stuck with, and I think three is the maximum we can apply also at LFX. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot
Right.
apply
Right.
to more than three projects. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So write the cover letters properly
Okay.
and make it well organized. The words should be good. It should show that you are really enthusiastic about the project.
Mm-hmm.
Read about the project very thoroughly. Interact with the mentors. Get to know whether it is possible to get your cover letter reviewed by the mentors or not. Like for my project, my mentor was not reviewing the cover letter, but often in few projects like a GSOC, the
Mm-hmm.
mentors do review the cover letter.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is that in LFX, they don't necessarily ask you to write a timeline and how you will be solving it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
better you write it. It
Okay.
helps. So
Okay.
for all the three projects I applied to, I wrote like one we write in GSOC. I wrote a
Mm-hmm.
similar timeline that these are the issues and this is how I will be solving it in the first week. This is how I will be solving it in the second week.
Mm.
And at end mention that why you are the best candidate for the project.
Okay. And
Everything that the mentor can think should be answered in the cover letter.
okay. And up
Yeah.
to how many pages we should extend the cover letter?
I think if you just stick with the project requirements, since like I I don't see any working professionals to apply.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are a student and a fresher, and if we stick to the requirements of the project, it should not cross more than 6 to 7 pages. 6 to 7 pages also, I'm telling excess.
Mm-hmm.
And don't write long paragraphs. Just think about it. Would you love to read a long paragraph or simple
Mm-hmm.
points?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so make it readable, make it attractive, make it short, crisp, so that because it my was a documentation project. If I cannot write the cover letter properly, how can I write the documentation properly?
Right.
So yeah, so make your cover letter look good, crisp, to the point, and it should show that you are the best candidate for the project.
And
But there
the
are many
point,
organizations like
yeah.
Layer 5 and Meshery
Mm-hmm.
that they do not look at the cover letter much. They look completely at the open source contribution. So you
Okay.
should make sure that which organization you are choosing, because every organization is different. The requirements that they are looking for in the candidates is different. So make
Okay.
sure that you are clear about that.
So you can get to know about that requirement from past mentees only.
Yeah, just connect with them on LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
and ask them to review the cover letter.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of like I had interacted uh with Bhavna. She was an LFX mentee. Look completely at the open source contribution. So you
Okay.
should make sure that which organization you are choosing, because every organization is different. The requirements that they are looking for in the candidates is different. So make
Okay.
sure that you are clear about that.
So you can get to know about that requirement from past mentees only.
Yeah, just connect with them on LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
and ask them to review the cover letter, you know.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of I had interacted with Bhavna. She was an LFX mentee previously, and she helped me review my cover letter, and it helped
Okay.
me a lot. So contributing to open source projects, this is another great thing that the connections grow a lot. Every
Mm-hmm.
organization, when you are contributing, you're active in that organization, you get to know a lot of people from there.
Right, right.
So it helps a lot.
And the point that you mentioned about Canva, it's another hack. Haven't heard about it from someone. So yeah, I'll try
Yeah.
it if I apply this time. Okay.
Yeah, and get it reviewed by the past mentees. Often, like, we cannot find our own mistakes, but they
Mm,
immediately get that this is something wrong, this is not looking good, change it.
mm. Okay. Coming to the next question. What changes have these open source opportunities or fellowships have brought in you technically and as well as in your personality development?
Okay, so I think a lot of changes. First thing is that to get amazing mentors, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like they have years of experiences. Sometimes, like in Layer 5, even the in Layer 5, the CEO of Layer 5 also used to attend the calls.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's a great exposure. You get to know about how they think, how is a problem analyzed,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. It's a huge learning experiences.
Okay.
Coming to the coding part, I think writing code is like, okay, we can do it in a personal projects as well, but understanding that huge code base, how the files are linked, I think
Mm-hmm.
that is something that I learned from while contributing to these open source projects. And coming to the internships as well, I think like in while I was an MLH fellow, that was the first time I was working on a blockchain project, and
Okay.
it would not have been possible if I hadn't such amazing mentors. So my
Mm-hmm.
pod leader and my mentors were very helpful. Like they solved every doubt of me. Whenever I asked, they replied, and it was like it helped me learn a lot from scratch, because earlier I had never worked on blockchain. That was the first time I was working on blockchain technology as an while I was an MLH fellow. So yes, I think apart from the code, like writing code and learning about these technologies, I think personality development also happens a lot because we learn to talk. Right,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time we are so afraid to talk, even if we know the solution, we are not able to express it properly, right? So like in layer 5, every layer 5 it had a websites call, right? So in
Okay.
websites call, all the people who were contributing to the website shared their screen, shared about the contributions, about the doubts, got the
Mm-hmm.
feedback, and the entire process happened. So I think that helped me a lot, right,
Mm-hmm.
in the initial stages, to learn how to speak, to learn express like what I'm doing, where I'm facing difficulty,
Yeah.
to express that clearly. Like we have to give every detail of that I am facing difficulty, right? Then only the other person can help us.
Right.
So that communication, collaborating and
Mm.
able to express properly, it all
Mm-hmm.
happened through open source.
Okay.
Because let's say in college or in school also, we are very shy, we don't speak much, and that kind of kills our ability to communicate properly. And what happens ultimately is that in internships, while applying for interviews as well, we are not
Mm.
able to speak properly. Let's say we know what it is, but we are not able to express properly,
Right.
we are
Right.
not able to explain to the interviewer properly. So these problems don't happen like once we have like interacted so much.
Mm-hmm.
And coming to these remote internships, communication is the key, because we are not
Mm-hmm.
meeting in person. So we should be able to communicate properly.
Mm-hmm.
So it like communication, collaboration, and also making connections. Like I met so many friends like whom I've never met in person, but I met them because of open source and because of these internships, and they help me so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like these connections, they help us so much. Even like let's say like I'm stuck somewhere, I'm not able to like, let's say I'm starting learning a new technology. Now I know someone who has been working in that technology. I can just directly go
Mm-hmm.
to that person and ask that, you know what, how can I get started, and that person can guide me,
Yeah.
right? So that guidance, connection, a lot of
Mm.
things happened while I was contributing to open source and was a part of these internships.
Okay. Do you have any issues regarding time zones?
Okay, so I'm a night owl. I
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so like my sleep schedule is like really messed up. So no,
Okay.
I didn't have any problem with, for people who have problem, they can, ask their mentors. We can there is always sometime which will be like suitable for both, so
Mm-hmm.
we can come to a conclusion and have that time. Often it's not possible. Like in MLH, we had pod meetings and they were a fixed time. But
Mm-hmm.
even the people who are like managing the pod meetings, they know that you are from India. They won't give you any very absurd time. Most of
Mm-hmm.
the times, it like the folks I interact, they will not be 3 a.m. at night for sure. They will
Okay.
be maximum 9 p.m., 10 p.m. somewhere where you can manage.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the thing is that time zones are actually good because we have colleges in the morning. If the meetings happen in the morning, we won't be able to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a good thing. And yeah, if the, like regarding the time zones, while I was working in MLH, we were a pod of 8 people, so it was a fixed time. But let's say I'm an intern at Status now. So in
Mm-hmm.
Status, we I talk with my mentor and come up with a time that is suitable for both of us, and it works well. Yeah.
Coming to just a casual question, what's your role at Status and what technologies are you exploring there?
Okay, so at Status, I'm working on the data availability sampling research project. Uh,
Okay.
it is mainly about so for now I am going like experimenting with the various parameters, uh, like a number of nodes, about the bandwidth. I'm changing the bandwidth values and seeing like how is it affecting the other nodes, how is it affecting the number of messages sent, and some
Okay.
other parameters like percentage of malicious nodes in the network,
Okay.
failure rate. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
experimenting with these parameters and seeing the result.
Okay.
And yeah, so for now I'm doing that. It's not even like a month. It's I think 1 or 2 weeks I've been uh,
Okay.
working on this project. And yeah, so that's my role currently. Uh, it's a research project. It was only like the role was also only for master's student, and
Okay.
yeah, the role was only for masters and PhD students.
Mm-hmm.
So the data, yes, so data availability sampling, if anyone wants, it's an open source project. People can check it out. It's on
Okay.
GitHub. I think if you
Mm-hmm.
go to the codex repository,
Mm-hmm.
codex, you can see that it is DAS dash research. You can
Mm-hmm.
find out about it.
Okay. So
And
I'll
it's a project which is a collaboration between Status and Ethereum Foundation.
okay. So I'll
Yeah.
mention the link in the description so folks can check out. Any advice for the juniors or any other people who want to get started in open source or are in source but want to progress more? Any of the tips, tricks, or points that you would like to mention from your experience?
Okay, so I think in open source, there will be a lot of times that we will not understand the code base. We will not understand what to do. So it's all
Mhm.
like instead of remaining quiet, it's better to ask. And
Okay.
people really don't judge you. They help you out. They want that you contribute to the project.
Mm,
So don't feel shy to ask questions,
mm,
because I've seen a lot of people, they are stuck at setting up the project and finally give up but don't ask for help. So
mm,
always ask for help in the public channels.
mm,
And I think second thing is I would say patience, because often it can take months to get your pull request merged.
Mm-hmm.
So you should have patience and read properly what are the community guidelines for that project and that community, and stick with that. I've seen a lot of people like unnecessary raising issues. So don't spam there, please. Don't
Mm-hmm.
spam there. Okay. If you get to find a good issue in the project, is then raise it. Don't just try to spam it. And yeah, I think open source communities, they are very welcoming and very helpful. So contribute there. Don't worry much if you are not getting internships or getting rejected.
Mm-hmm.
Build up your resume by contributing to open source. You will definitely get great internships.
Just a wind-up question. Would you like to give shout out or mention any of your friends, family members, who have been part of a significant part of your success journey till now?
I think, obviously my parents, they have been
Mm,
a great supporter
mm,
because like I don't have to like worry anything about anything. My job is just to study, do my internship. So other things are managed by my parents. I'm very blessed in that way that
yeah,
my parents are always there for me. I think like starting from motivation to everything to encouraging me, they have always been there for me. And I would say my college friends in my BTech college, uh,
okay,
they were just amazing. Uh, we had a group of 11 friends, and uh, they helped me so much survive that,
okay,
BTech life while I was doing all these things, So yeah, I think these 30. And also, I think, my college was also very pretty chill college, so not
okay,
much to worry about.
mm,
So I think that also helped me a lot
okay,
to do all these things, because at the end of the day, if you are going to college every day
mm,
and then coming back and tired, it's not
mm,
possible to do so many things after
mm,
that. So I think my college also, I would say, and most importantly, my friends, they helped
mm,
me survive throughout the BTech and
mm,
while I was doing all these things. And even
okay,
till now, they're always there for me. We talk regularly, and yeah, so these two, I
okay,
would say.
okay. So Arunima would be back with us and in another episode, and there we'll be discussing about MLH Fellowship. Yeah, that's all. Thanks, Arunima, for joining with me. Yeah, that's all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Bye, guys. Signing off.